Hussbus bus stop. What is up, everybody? JP Hussey here of the Hussey Team Mortgage Advisors with this week's Hussbus bus stop. I hope everybody is doing well. It's chilly out here in the Northeast, right around Philly. We're supposed to get snow, then we don't get snow, then we're getting some snow. I hate to say it, but I want a foot or two, at least, maybe 10 feet. I don't know. Who doesn't like a good snow day? You kind of feel like you don't have to do anything, right? You like one or two of them per year. But anyway, again, I hope everyone's doing well. Just a couple things I want to speak on today. Like we've seen, mortgage rates have been increasing a bit. So again, friendly reminder, look at some of our other videos. We've talked about this. It's about budget. I could give you all types of data that shows you where rates were 30 years ago. Home prices were lower then. But here's the thing. Rates are still super low. Can still fit your budget. Do not get obsessed with rate because it's way over our head. We can't control it, right? So use someone that's going to advise you. Whether it's a cash out refi. We've been saving people $1,000, $1,500 per month, $600 per month, consolidating debt, negging out. It's great stuff. All right, I have a couple videos on that, but I'm going to keep moving. All right, just make sure you're using an advisor. All right, next, let's keep talking rates and why rates maybe are moving up or why they're not. Right. So big thing in the news this week. Right, the Fed is saying that they're going to raise rates. All right, they're raising rates. Now, the typical consumer, no fault to them, right? They hear rates. A lot of times you're thinking, all right, my car loan, my mortgage rate, certain other rates that affect you, right, on a case-by-case basis, all right? That's not the case. That's not what the Fed is doing. Some of it correlates, which I'll talk about in a minute, but not always, okay? So when the Fed says that they're raising rates, what that means is it's the rates that are going up is what banks charge other banks to borrow from each other. Another system way over my head, but that's what's going up, all right? Because, hey, we're in a good amount of debt in this country. It just is what it is, right? We're trying to balance it out, and that's one way to do it, okay? To raise some rates, okay? But this does not mean that mortgage rates are going to increase. Remember, mortgage rates are based around mortgage-backed securities, all right? So it doesn't necessarily correlate with rates and they just automatically go up. You'll see we're going to raise it a quarter. We're going to raise it a half a point. We're going to have 3 raises. That doesn't go like that. There's so much more to it, okay? But it does not correlate to mortgage rates, all right? Why rates are kind of going up a bit is really they tend to follow inflation, okay? So what's pretty interesting about this is when the Fed says they're raising rates, remember what banks charge other banks to borrow money, okay? They're doing this to combat inflation because inflation's going up. They're trying to combat this, right? And what we've seen in the past when the Fed raises rates, mortgage rates at some point actually tend to get lower, all right? Because inflation is being fought against, right? Inflation's going up, rates are going up. That's inflation, right? So if we're going to combat inflation, mortgage rates tend, now it's always happened, who knows, it's been a crazy few years, all right? Who knows, but they could come back down, all right? So no guarantees on that, but that's when you're hearing the news, the Fed's raising rates does not correlate to a car loan, a mortgage loan. It has a lot more to do with that. The next thing I want to talk about is appraisals. If you've bought a house, if you've refinanced, there may have been a time, more often than not, right, that you maybe had an appraisal issue in terms of timing or it's cost you a lot of money. Geez, I just spent $1,300 on an appraisal for a client that we didn't disclose and I had to pay it because there was no appraisers in the area. This one appraiser said, hey, you want me to do it? My time's valuable. Pay me $1,300 instead of around that $500 that it costs, right? So it's been crazy. And we've talked about in other videos as well. It's very tough to become an appraiser. Don't quote me on this, but you need a bachelor's degree. All right? Technically, I don't need any degree to be a mortgage person, right? But think about it. You need a bachelor's degree. You need a couple years of an internship, right, with another appraiser, right? So it's tough to break into the industry. It's tough. You need 3-4 years of schooling just to start really making some money. So I think that needs to be changed. But in the meantime, what we're starting to see is that like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? All the behind the scenes, the secondary investors, they're going to start moving in March, from what we're hearing, to more desktop appraisals. All right, this is pretty big. This means that we don't need a physical appraiser driving somewhere to go and do an inspection of the property. What they're going to look at, prior sales, comps in the area, which 95% of the weight is towards anyway when comping out a home for value. Obviously, an inspection could make sense to make sure the house isn't falling apart, things like that. But with technology nowadays, you might be able to find that stuff out, all right? But there's going to be more desktop appraisals. They're going to allow a lot more of these, all right? So then we can have quicker appraisals because we need them. It's costing a lot of people money, a lot of people time, right? So in March, if you're looking to buy or refi, it might be a little bit messy in the beginning. Always is with a newer type program. There always has been desktop appraisals, but they're going to be allowed more, all right? So in March, let's see what happens there, all right? And hopefully if you're looking to buy, you're not getting gouged with fees, typical supply and demand, right? You're not getting gouged, and hopefully it's in a timely manner. Hey, if you need us at all, please, for anything, whether it's mortgage, you need a babysitter, you need a contractor, feel free to give us a shout. We're always here from you. Have a great day. Hussbus bus stop.